Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We are counting down the days until WWE Bad Blood 2024 coming to you live on Peacock this Saturday. Today, big day for the Pat McAfee show on ESPN, as well as being streamed on YouTube. Cody Rhodes made an appearance on the show and gave a good long interview, a little bit of banter back and forth with Pat McAfee. Probably the biggest news of the day would be with them, saying goodbye, and the camera coming in close on Pat McAfee, shaking Cody's hand, saying thank you very much for being on the show. And as he did, he said he heard that the big guy would be making his return this week, and Cody said that we would have to see. And the first big guy that came to my mind was Ryback. Ryback has been out of wrestling, honestly, 2017, I would guess. I mean, it's a lot like, how Colin Kaepernick always says he wants to come back to wrestling. Ryback, is always in the news that he's going to be making a return. He's going to be having some sort of a match with Goldberg. People thought that he was going to sign with AEW. I think that, Ryback has been out of wrestling so long that if he wanted to be in wrestling, if he wanted to wrestle, I think, you would see him do some independence, do some things like this and that. I see him doing a lot of stuff, selling his weight gainer, muscle grower, kind of stuff like that. He does a lot of chats talking about wrestling. I just think that Ryback just doesn't want to be a part of wrestling anymore. That's my mind. If WWE called with some sort of offer to put him on the main roster and give him some sort of a push, and we could relive 2013 all over again, I think he would love to do it, but I just don't see him doing the grind to get on the AEW or WWE's radar. So the next big guy that I thought of, honestly, was Brock Lesnar. Brock, we haven't seen him. He was supposed to be in the Royal Rumble. He was replaced by not by Braun Strowmer, but by Braun Breaker. Ended up coming, and some people said that the big rumble that Braun Breaker had kind of eliminated a lot of guys, having a lot of standstill, looky-loos. A dude setting up big matches down the road was because they just let him go in there and take Brock Lesnar's spot, and they kind of already worked those spots into the match, and they knew that Braun Breaker was going to be a big deal. They just let him play out, that spot. Before that, I kind of remember the 3 matches against Cody Rhodes, where Cody got his arm broke by Brock Lesnar, and Cody fought back in order to win the 2 out of 3 matches against Brock and earn Brock respect. I think that was right after WrestleMania, where Brock had defeated Omos. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he had a match against like Bobby Lashley somewhere in there that was supposed to be, putting Bobby Lashley over, but I'm not 100% sure when that was. Just Brock hasn't been around a lot. The Vince McMahon lawsuit with, I believe her name is Janelle Grant, dropped right around Royal Rumble time last year, and although Brock Lesnar was not named in name, he's one of the only former UFC World Heavyweight Champions that they have on the roster, and that's kind of what was named inside of the deal of Vince making her part of his contract when he re-signed in 2021. I don't know, just a weird thing in wrestling. And then right around the Mr. McMahon documentary that dropped on Netflix last week, in the last episode, he's named by name. They just fill it in. Brock Lesnar, who was re-signed in 2021, was a part of the lawsuit, basically stating the fact that Vince had shared private photos with him and promised that anytime that Brock wanted to have sex with her, that she was a part of the deal. And I don't know. There was some gross stuff, basically, when you break down, in the lawsuit, the more things that she said about him. But what a slap in the face it honestly would be to anybody who watched this documentary, anybody who's been following the news of the last year, to bring Brock back. I mean, for as bad as the stuff is to be about Vince McMahon, to have him sort of like pushed out of the company and nobody really wants to see him around, to welcome Brock back with a big pop and a big push, 1 week after McMahon's documentary was out, and he was kind of the only person who went down with him. Even, when they talked about the steroid trial and the Ring Boy saga of the 1980s, they made sure to go out of their way to say that Hulk Hogan really did nothing wrong when he was taking steroids. It was not illegal at the time. It might have been frowned upon, but there was no sort of like laws that he was breaking. When they talked about Pat Patterson and the Ring Boy scandal, they went out of their way to say that 2 of the 3 people in the Ring Boys saga were guilty. One of them was innocent, being Pat Patterson, because of his long. I don't think it was just because. I don't know if he was guilty, if he was innocent. I know a little bit about that whole deal from hearing it in interviews and stories all my life, but I don't know what he did and what he didn't do. I don't know if the story with him and Tony Atlas was true or not, or if Tony Atlas was playing some sort of rib from beyond the grave on Pat Patterson, telling him something like that. But, I just think that honestly, for as many wrestling fans who like to stand out there and, they cancel Vince and say that, he built this whole thing, but he was a bad man. That's why I'm very honest with my open thing with Vince. If Vince opened a new wrestling company tomorrow, I'd be interested to know, what was going on over there. If Vince had a meet and greet at like a WrestleCon, I would be one of the first guys who tried to buy his ticket for a picture and an autograph to have that moment with him. It sucks to say, but whatever happened, he didn't do it to me, I guess. But I think that if they're going to be, saying that you got to cancel Vince, I think that, Brock is somebody that has to go down with the ship as well. It just doesn't make a lot of sense for this company, WWE, to be bringing him back this soon. So I don't think it's going to be Brock.